Hey there, how's it going? My name's Luke Persiani, and today we'll be finishing off the NFC West, talking about the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers. Let's start with the Seahawks. Okay, so Russell Wilson. I'm not a Russell Wilson fan. I don't want to spend top 5 money on Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson is a top 12 quarterback, but I don't believe that he's a top 5 quarterback in the league in terms of fantasy. You're really banking on his running game carrying you throughout most weeks. This is not a person who's going to throw for over 400 in a game, put up 3 or 4 touchdowns through the air. So yeah, I'm not a big Russell Wilson believer. As far as the running game goes, it's a mixed bag of nuts. I think we'll see if Rawls or Lacey takes the forefront. The last game Thomas Rawls had, he put up over 160 yards rushing on the ground. So he's a good player. And Eddie Lacy has been consistently disappointing over the past few years with the Green Bay Packers. He's been fat, he's been slimming down, but he's never really produced in the way that we expected him after those first couple seasons with the Packers. I think a lot of people thought when Eddie Lacy moved to the Seahawks that he was the clear-cut number 1 guy. But they know Thomas Rawls over there. They like Thomas Rawls over there. And I could seriously see him being the featured back on the Seattle Seahawks. I think he's a more electric player. Moving on to wide receivers, Doug Baldwin's a stud. I think he's a consistent player, so I'm a big fan. Outside of that, I think Jermaine Kearse could have a sneaky year. The real guy I love on the Seahawks is Jimmy Graham. This is a guy who's going at tight end 6 or 7, who I believe will be the number 1 tight end in the league this year. He will put Gronk and Jordan Reed, the injury-prone duo of fame, to shame. Jimmy Graham is back, he's 100% healthy. Seattle knows they're messing up not getting him the ball. He's the most talented player on the roster, so they're trying to find a way to get him to score more often. They will succeed this year. He understands the offense. He's developing better chemistry with Russell Wilson. So Jimmy Graham's a stud, and he's going to be the number 1 tight end in football at the end of this season. So let's move on to the San Francisco 49ers, the team that it seems like there's no one ever available to draft because they all generally stink in fantasy. Well, it's kind of more of the same this year. Brian Hoyer's the new quarterback on the San Francisco 49ers. He's not going to be your starting quarterback. Even if he shows some flashes of brilliance in the first few weeks, you're not starting him. Let's face it. So you're not drafting him. Moving on to the running back situation, I think Carlos Hyde has a lot of talent, and I think he's going to get a lot of volume. I'm not afraid of Tim Hightower. As long as Carlos Hyde stays healthy, he's going to be a 3-down back and a legit running back number 2. Now moving into the wide receivers. The only guy you should be interested in, Pierre Garçon. Now this is a guy who used to be a PPR monster, 5-6 catches a game. And if you can get 5 catches a game out of a wide receiver, he should be starting in fantasy football. I don't think he's in the wide receiver 2 discussion. I think people are a little too high on him. There are a lot of people out there that I would rather have over Pierre Garçon who are rated lower than him. So if I could get him as my wide receiver 3, I'm happy. But let's move on to tight end, where there's not a lot to love in San Francisco. You got Vance McDonald as your number 1 guy. You're not drafting any of their San Francisco tight ends. Well, that covers the NFC West. Tune in next time as I cover the NFC North. My name's Luke Persiani, and for all your fantasy football needs, I'm your guy. Don't laugh at me.